Hi, Piero. This is a response to your response to Jean-Pierre and his mental libraries video. Um, actually, have notes for once. Not going to say anything too extensive. I'm just taking a break in between other things that I should be doing. But everyone needs to take a break sometime. Anyway, um, the first thing that kind of struck me about what you said was concerning um, the amateur philosophers and about once philosophy ended up in the academy or when people became, I guess, professional philosophers. And like all of these discussions, I guess I have to preface these statements with, well, I don't know very much about philosophy except for what I'm hearing other people say because I've never studied it formally, really. Um, but anyway, K, the academician, I have a few issues I've realized with that. Um, Mainly that, knowledge is good, and having people who are able to, I guess, spend their full time developing ideas, in some senses, you know, a, it's great, and being able to support that, because I love ideas, and I love talking about ideas and exploring what's possible. Um, The only, well, I guess maybe the real main issue that I have with it is the idea that um, when people are separate, like the way an academician might be, um, well, we're always studying ourselves, no matter what field you're in. I think you're ultimately studying just humans, or humans some way, even if it's like a hard science like chemistry, you're really still just studying how people are able to see that, record it, what systems do they make for seeing it and recording it, so it's still really people. And when you get people who, this is particularly true I think for social sciences, when you get people who it's their job to develop ideas, but they're separate from things like policy making or politics, I don't remember the exact list of things that you said, but when they're separate from those things, then if they're creating a knowledge base about these things that they're studying, the further away from it they are, the less reflective that knowledge would be of the thing or the people or the idea or the experience or whatever that they're um, supposedly developing ideas for and telling us about. And I see that a lot in psychology, particularly the thing I like to study, which is social psychology, where a lot of experiments and things occur in labs because it's much easier to put people in a lab and make comments about causality if you can control variables. The only issue then becomes, well, that's all well and good, but it starts to reflect less and less the situations or the social aspect of what you're trying to study. And I think that that can be sort of extended to a lot of the other, I guess, academic fields. Although, like I said, I particularly think social sciences, that's valid. The other thing that I was interested in commenting on was the idea of the mind-computer metaphor. I kind of, it feels a little uncomfortable for me. Now I will admit that I don't have it exactly thought out or completely clear in my mind of what exactly it is about that that makes me uncomfortable. But the very first thing is the idea that I don't think that we know enough about the human mind to create a machine that's reflective enough of our own brain function to be, I mean, I guess you can use it, but it just feels like the metaphor is stretched to an extent. And then the other thing I guess I would think about is that computers especially, I would think of that as reflective of a particular type or way of thinking that the human brain is obviously capable of. But if you could somehow try to model the brain function of someone who wasn't brought up in Western culture or maybe came from a different time period, I mean, we're all humans, so of course we're going to have, you know, you know, huge overlap in how we're able to think about things. But I would just wonder if you were trying to model the same sort of thing, would you get um, a computer as we recognize it? I mean, not saying that someone from, you know, Peru 300 years ago would build a computer or whatever, but just saying, just sort of the processes that a computer goes through with respect to how it solves problems. I'm just wondering how much of that is culturally bound, and when we're using metaphors of the human mind as a computer, are we really just talking about one particular way that the human mind is capable of operating? So, yeah, that kind of went off a bit, but that's what I was thinking.